Looking for validation from my partner is a form of seeking permission. Okay, if I want my partner to validate my desires, and if I want a certain type of reaction, and if I don't get that, I will not go with my desire. If I do that, I am using my partner's reaction as a form of permission for me to have a desire and to go for a desire. Okay, it is a lot of indirect pressure on the partner to expect in a certain way when you present your desire. They are going to react in the way they feel like. They come from a certain background, they have their own way of looking at life, and they might not necessarily understand your desires, and they might not necessarily realize the importance your desires have for you. Okay, it's absolutely natural. But when I use my partner's reaction as a form of validation and like a permission meter, I end up feeling resentful, and I end up blaming them in my head somewhere, which lurks in the background. And I feel as if I'm not able to live my desires because of the way they are reacting. Now, this is what you might feel on the surface level, and there is a way to go deeper and understand why am I seeking permission outside of me. I am living my life in this body. I have taken birth to live my desires the way I want to. Then why do I need permission from the outside? Where in my upbringing, where did I learn that this is how I'm going to operate? When did this become my operating system? Okay, and how long, for how long can I ignore my desires, and can I lie to myself about not having them? And how long can I use the reaction of my partner as a validation and a permission meter? How long can I do that? Like, I will not feel connected to myself, I will not feel connected to my partner. There will be distance happening and growing between people, and even children who are born out of this dynamic will feel the distance inside of them. Okay, so when I'm working on my relationship with self, I'm automatically working on my relationship with others and my partner, and it is automatically impacting the next generation because they are feeling the energetic impression of this dynamic. Okay, so I was working on this um, with my coach, and I was telling my coach how I no longer want to use my partner's reaction as a permission meter, and I want to live my desires with ease, and I want to feel as if it is okay to not get validation, and I don't want to have resentment for my partner at the same time. So I did an exercise where my coach helped me find this out for myself, and I closed my eyes and I visualized my partner's anger and disappointed reaction, and I imagined the effect it is having on me and how I am feeling small and as if I don't have the permission. And I let in my mind's eye, so I'm opening my eyes right now because I'm talking to you, but the next part that I'm going to say is part of my visualization and what I did inside of me and how did it bring me awareness and clarity. Okay, this is something that will give you a glimpse of my approach with each one of you inside marriage school, and how we are going to work on the solidification of your connection with yourself, and how that will actually cause a ripple effect on your relationships. Okay. Okay. So I closed my eyes, I visualized my partner and his reaction that makes me feel small and as if I don't have permission to live my desire. And I saw a sad and angry stance. And then I let his reaction stay and the energy of his reaction stay, and I let his body dissolve. I let this form dissolve. Okay. And then I let the reaction build a face and body around it. Okay. I let the reaction build a face and body around it to whom it belongs. Okay. And then I saw my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. I have actually lived with my grandmother from birth till 21 years of age. And I have spent a lot of time with her. I used to sleep with her during most of my childhood, and I have been in her energy field for as long as I can remember, until the age of 21, and after that she died. I remember being in her embrace so much during my developmental years that it made sense to me how and why she appeared. Okay. And it's not logical, it's it's very it's very illogical, and it's very true. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I saw my grandmother's face, and it was a sad face, and this sad face had sentences to speak. And I allowed myself to listen to the sentences that her sad face needed to speak. And one of the main sentences was, "When will I die?" She used to say this quite often during her deathbed: "When will I die? When will I die?" And it's like someone who is very dissatisfied with their life. When I look at her body, it feels it's physically and mentally ill. And she became a widow very early in her life. Okay. I have seen her as a widow since birth, and always in a white sari, and not wearing colors, not doing anything for herself. There is no concept of doing things for self in her field, in her life, in her brain and body. Okay. And when I saw her in that white sari, I saw a very weak stature where the shoulders are drooling down, the spinal cord is almost bent, and it felt like she needs support badly. Okay. I kind of hold on to the image. I was guided to hold on to the image and solidify the image. And then I walked into the image. I walked inside the image, inside her body. I told her name to myself. I felt the white sari around me, and I felt my shoulders drooping down. I felt my spinal cord bending, and I felt all the weakness in my body and the feeling of somehow moving through life. I allowed myself to feel what it means to be in her space. As a kid, I did not have the awareness of what it means to be in her space. What is it doing to me at a developmental level? What is it doing to my beliefs and my outlook towards life? And how is it shaping up my personality in a way? Okay, so I got a sense of that when I stepped into her field and I allowed myself to feel her feelings. I realized what it means to be in her space. Okay. And in one word, what it means to be in her space is it means to be heavy. I felt heavy, very heavy. And there was this immense heaviness putting me down. And in this moment, in her field, I paused and asked if I have a desire in this moment, if I'm able to feel a desire in this moment. And I became completely blank for quite a number of minutes, as if this field does not have a sense of the word desire, does not know what desire is. And then I moved past her body, that body, and I went behind. And it was an instant shift from heaviness to lightness. And I felt like, whoa, I felt like this is a lot of heaviness. And how did she live like this? Like, I became amazed at the realization of the heaviness that I carried and realized in this moment. Even though I carried it in my background, I did not realize it, I did not feel it so much until that moment. So I realized it, and I could understand why the word desire did not make sense in that space, in that body. It is simply because in her energy field, desires are not only suppressed, they are completely repressed. Completely repressed. And when I passed through her field and when I look back to her, I get to acknowledge that this was so heavy. And it was so heavy to the extent that desire cannot be even felt in this field, in this body. It cannot be brought to this body because there is no permission to desire in her space. And I simply looked at my grandma and I acknowledged that, Grandma, I realize you would obviously be afraid of freedom. I realize it. I realize this is your story and how you are obviously so afraid of freedom. Okay? I hugged her in that moment, and I realized that my grandma was a person who not only didn't have a concept of freedom, she didn't have permission for anything like inside of her, and did not even know if she can have a desire. Because she did not have a husband, she was unpermissioned to be herself for the rest of her life. Her husband, by the virtue of not being there, was controlling her. Her only identity was being a widow. And widow is in context, like, widow is a woman whose husband has died. So widow is used as an identity only in context of a relationship, of a marriage. So when I see her in her identity as a widow, her husband, by the virtue of passing away, is controlling her. She doesn't even have a husband to seek permission from, and has eternally unpermissioned herself to be herself and have a desire. However, it is my loyalty and love for her that because she doesn't have a husband, I make my husband and I put him in that role where I need to seek permission to be myself. It is not about his reaction. he can react any way which he wants. It is about me making him the permission meter and not realizing this is not about him, this is about my love for my grandma and the story of her marriage that I have seen growing up. And when I take a movement towards this entanglement and when I work here and I come back and I step into this new version of me who has permissioned herself, who has taken grandma in her heart and told grandma that this is your life and I honor your life and I'm going to keep you in my heart and I'm going to give myself permission because this is my energy field, this is my life, and this is how I'm going to honor you, grandma. I'm not going to continue honoring you by not living my desires. I don't want to be a copy of you. I want to be me. Okay? And I'm going to be me when I'm able to live my desires with ease and with peace and with a centeredness of myself. Okay, so when I take movement here, when I identify the real reason, I work with it and I step into this new found insight and awareness, and I look at my partner, even when he gets angry or disappointed, I'm able to not make it about myself. I'm able to be curious and I'm able to talk and be in my peace. I'm able to decide for myself. I'm able to discuss and ask questions to my partner without having the resentment for his reaction. This is a shift that might be sounding complex because it is. However, when I'm willing to take this direction, everything falls into place step by step. And by taking this complexity, I actually simplify my wiring, I simplify my understanding, and I simplify my connection with others. Okay, so even though it looks complicated, it results in simplification. Okay, that is my biggest motivation to go down this path because ultimately it is simplifying my life. Okay, so this is how I realized that this is one very strong aspect of me seeking validation and not doing things that I want to do unless I get them. And this is one way of how I transcended the pattern. There are other branches to it that I'm not going into right now, but I want you to watch this. Like, if you have watched it till now, I want you to mainly understand that what you feel is coming from your own background, and your partner or anyone outside of you, any relationship, is a mirror that is pushing you to go deeper into that real reason. Okay? It is not about them. Whatever they are saying is about their own background, and they can look at it whenever they want to. What you are feeling is only about you and where you come from. Okay, so when you sign up for marriage school and you bring up any issue on the table, we are going to go deeper into where it comes from. What are you being pushed to look at, and how can you find that thing that you are looking for from within, and how can you build a connection within such that it reflects on your connections outside. Okay, so yeah, this is where I would like to end, and you can ping me for regarding any queries that you might have. Also, there is a very exclusive offer for you all. If you're entering marriage school before 7th February. 7th February is the starting date for marriage school, and we are going to meet every Wednesday, and the coaching will happen at 7:30 p.m. for about 90 minutes every week. And this is a long time container, and you're going to get lifetime access for it only at an inaugural offer of INR 55,000 till 6th of February. So get in touch with me. Let me know if you want to take a consult, if you want to talk to me, if you want to register, whatever comes up, honor it and feel free to get in touch with me. Thank you.